Hi everyone, thanks for joining us for Northern Ag TV. Today we're at the third day of the Montana Stockgrowers Association annual convention, and I'm talking with now past President John Grande. So first of all, John, obviously we've had a lot of policy meetings going on this week, so what are the big things that came out of those meetings?
Sure, Grace. A lot of great discussion. Some things we might have anticipated being a little contentious and weren't really. Talked a lot about water, things coming up with the Divisional Water Court, more on the exempt well bill. We think we've made a lot of progress on that, and I mean, it's going to be a big topic in the legislature, but we're coming out of here with clear direction of what we want. A lot of talk about property tax. You know, the governor had a couple of different property tax task forces. Some recommendations for bills are coming out of that. We had those discussions. We're going to continue working on that. Some other, we got a lot of litigation going on for better or worse, and most recently a lot of talk about the ones on the confined animal feeding operations, CAFO permitting, and we've asked to intervene in some litigation there, and our committee I guess kind of affirmed that position and supported us in going forward with that litigation, how to go. So that's some of the big things, a lot of other things, but that's some big ones.
During the first general session, you mentioned the fact that the producer partnership is about unity between groups within the industry. So can you talk about how you've built this unity and how the association plans to continue doing so?
Well, the second question is more accurate because how we've done it, we haven't. It's a work in progress, you know. And I don't think there's any big secret. I think it's just constantly work on it. But we've done that. We've reached out to any number of groups, and some of this we've talked about for years, but some of these groups we've had great alliances with years, and others we've talked about but haven't always got it done. We've reached out to groups and said, let's set up meetings with your leadership and our leadership. I mean, from groups within our industry like the North Dakota Stockmen's, the Idaho Cattle Association, groups like that, groups in Montana like the grain growers, and there's no secret. It's just talking to them and sitting down and discussing what your priorities are. And as I did say the other day, we disagree on some issues. We're going to continue to disagree on some issues, but let's work on the ones we can work on.
A big announcement was that Christy Clark, current director of the Department of Agriculture, is going to be the director of the Montana Fish, Wildlife, and Parks. So can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, I guess that's just a positive from our perspective, other than the fact, obviously, we're going to miss her at the Department of Agriculture. But Christy's a friend of mine. She's been great for me to work with. You know, when I reach out, call, she's very responsive to my calls, my emails. You know, we've loved working with her at the Department of Agriculture. So we look forward to working, you know, continuing to work with her at Fish, Wildlife, and Parks. So we think that's a real strong choice.
This week was your last Montana Stockgrowers annual convention as president. You just got done serving your 2-year term. So tell us, what were the highlights from your presidency?
Well, that's so hard to say because it's hard to look back for the 2 years as president and 6 years as an officer when we're looking forward, and it's hard to look back past the last 15 minutes. But obviously the continuity in our officer team and building staff and the projects that we're working on cooperatively that, as I said, started with my predecessors and we're continuing on and will continue, that continuity of those things. Obviously membership growth, the growth in membership is a great thing. And then just more recently, this convention, we've had a great lineup of speakers. Getting to sit down and have a little conversation here with the governor this morning, there's just a lot of highlights, but a couple things come to mind.
All right. Well, thank you for your time today, John, and we appreciate your work the past 2 years as the president of the Montana Stockgrowers Association. So thanks for being here today.
Very good, Grace. Thanks.
We'll be back with your markets after this.
From the beginning, we've worked closely with farmers. BNSF's ties to the agricultural community go back 175 years. Together, we've innovated to make the U.S. agriculture supply chain one of the most efficient and productive in the world. Our strong relationship powers BNSF still today and helps us move the nation like no one else can. At BNSF, we move the nation for you.
Talking with someone that you know is stressed out, those are difficult things to approach, but if you're good friends with those people, reach out and say, I'm here to talk to you. We can find somewhere to get some assistance. It's hard to get involved, but at the same time, you want to just say, hey, there is help available.
For more tips in dealing with stress in agriculture or for free counseling for egg producers, visit beyondtheweather.com.
Welcome back to Northern Ag TV. Well, the cattle market made a recovery before heading into the weekend. Prices were lower across the board in the previous session due to a weak export sales report, but it seems that traders overcame that and focused on support coming from the cash and box beef markets. Dressed cattle sold $2 higher at mostly $2.97 and live at $1.91. Choice box beef cuts had a significant jump, moving $4 higher for a cutout value of about $3.12. The wheat futures were mixed for most of Friday's session. Trade estimates that total export sales will be between 11 and 22 million bushels, which would still be ahead of the average for this time of last year. Black Sea conditions have declined a bit into dormancy, which is adding some support to the United States wheat market. Yesterday, 6,000 head of feeder cattle went through the ring at BLS with really strong prices showing for the lightweight calves. Everything under 600 pounds for the steers sold $10 to $15 higher. The light 400 pounders trading at $405 to $435 per hundredweight. Heavy 4s at $366 to $406. Heavy 5s at $309 to $343. And on the heifer side, lightweight sold anywhere from $8 to $15 higher at $342, and the 4 to 4.5 weights at $307 to $325. And for your sheep market, the weight classes were fairly mixed, but overall, your 70-pound lambs sold the best, $13 higher at $223 to $231. Well, that's it for now on Northern Ag TV. Thanks for joining us. I'm Grace McDonald.